nothing on it. I don't even understand how you could sit here and cut a pizza with no sauce or cheese on it. Knock it off. You're not going to take it back. They're going to come pick up the pizza because they brought it. I'm not stupid. I'm looking at it right in front of me. I know what breadsticks look like, and this is not breadsticks. Soggy dough at that.
Stop.
What?
Stop.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you know what I'm about. So let's get to it. So today we're going to be talking about 4 reasons why Black women will not get married, right? So this, believe it or not, is going to be a little bit more positive than it is negative, but I have to go through these things, and a lot of women need to figure out where they are in this to help them to get over this whole, single life world, right? And, and like I say, men can get something out of this as well, because a lot of this information, goes back and forth between the two. But these are the things that I am seeing over and over again, whether I talk to people or seeing people out on social media or, just in my own interactions. These are the things that I am noticing. And so therefore, I did want to make a video to talk about it to help, Black women solve some of these problems. So the very first problem is hurt. Straight up, a lot of Black women are butt hurt. They're in their feelings about relationships. And when women get in their feelings about a relationship, they toss a wall up, right? And the reason why they toss this wall up, because they think the wall is going to protect them. But actually, it doesn't really protect them. It isolates them. One of the things that we see a lot is we see these lists that women are constantly making. And most of these women's lists are growing. They're growing like every month, every day, every week. And a lot of times what the woman is really doing is she's trying to protect herself from harm. So recently I actually saw an IG post where a woman said that she would not date a man who drives a white car. So of all the things in the world, she was basically saying a white car will disqualify a man if she's dating him. And trust me, I've heard things like this before. The man plays sports. If he has a PS5, if he has this, if he has that, if he doesn't have hair, if he does have hair, if he does have a beard, if he doesn't have a beard. It's like all these things, right? And really what it boils down to is that the woman dated a man and he did her wrong and he had this thing, right? So in this particular scenario, the woman dated a man that had a white car. And so now she's done with dating any man that has a white car, because evidently very few men have white cars. So if his car is white, then something must be wrong with him. And so she don't want to date him. That is when we start talking about butt hurt, right? That deep level of hurt. And see, these walls, that women are throwing up constantly, all it does is isolate you. And here's what the real problem with this is, that the man of your dreams, the man of your fantasy, the man of your sexual energy, right? He can break through all those walls with a smile. But the really great man, the man that you really need to talk to, he has to go through each wall. And good men who know their worth are not going to do it. They're not going to break through all those walls. And it puts women in a situation where they're constantly being abused, where they're constantly being hurt. And women have to understand where this is coming from. Why is it hurting you over and over and over again? As I've spoken to you all before, I really encourage you to look at Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. In those Proverbs, what you're going to see is you're going to see this concept of the immoral woman, because this was Solomon talking to his sons. But if you actually take some time, and I'll throw some scripture up on the screen so you can see it. But if you take some time and actually reverse it and truly think about what Solomon is saying, and saying it, and you just kind of, like I say, change it for women. So you're dealing with the immoral man instead of the immoral woman. What you see is that 99% of that stuff works. And it is really eye-opening for a lot of women because it kind of shows you how to stay away from really crappy guys. God actually told you. God actually gave you the formula. But most pastors, they're not teaching it, but it's right there. And then, like I say, in Proverbs 5, it basically says that his words will be smoother than oil. And what do a lot of women talk about? Oh, he speaks so well. He knows just how to talk to women. He's so smooth. That's the very man you need to leave alone. The Bible says leave that man alone. But many of you fall into that trap. And that's how the Bible says it. It's a trap. The Bible talks about in Proverbs 7 how men that are walking around not doing the normal things that men do, which is basically protecting, providing, and leading. They're not doing that. They're hanging out. They're having fun. They smell good and all this other kind of stuff. They tempt you with the lusts of the flesh. And basically the Bible says it will cost you your life. And again, this is not talking about you're going to fall over dead. It means that you're going to lose the things that you wanted in this life. All of your hopes and dreams will be lost because you basically went down the path with the wrong man, right? So all this butt hurtness, all this pain that you feel, the pain comes from you dating the wrong man. If you date the right men, which is a lot of what I'm constantly trying to talk about on this channel, okay, then you won't have these problems. Women who get married, they don't marry necessarily the most attractive man. They don't marry the man who necessarily has the best, that speaks the best. They marry the man that is good. That's the man that they marry. And it's the same thing goes for men. Men don't necessarily marry the woman who's the Instagram model. They marry the woman who might be a little chubby, who might have a little stomach, who might have a little bit going on in their arms or whatever, right? That's the woman that gets married. It's not always, the prettiest woman, but it's a woman who has a very kind heart, okay, and is decently pretty. We don't want, people that's 3s and 4s. We want women that are like 6, 7s, and 8s in their pretty, but we don't necessarily need 9s and 10s, right? So that is the very first thing, is hurt, just straight up hurt. The second thing, which is kind of, where I was alluding to, is that a lot of women are attracted to boyfriend energy. And when it comes to, life, and I've said it before, and it hurts me every single time I say it, believe it or not, is that when people have been raised in single parent homes, or single parent homes that became single parents. Like I said, maybe your parents were together for the first 8 years of your life, and then they got a divorce, and then now you was living with your mom or with your dad, for the final 8 years of your life. What you have not seen is 18 years of two people trying to make it work. That helps to solidify the understanding of husband energy or wife energy. Right? And I'm not going to beat you up about it, and I don't want you to feel hurt about it, but I want you to acknowledge it. Because you have to remember that this energy that you're searching out, you're going after these people. Like I did a video recently again, and it had Mr. Gaskins in it. And there was a lot of ladies in the comments because evidently they like Mr. Gaskins. And they basically were just not happy with some of the stuff that I said, because I came, and I wasn't, like I said, agreeing with him at all. And the reason why is because I believed in that particular video. I can't say about his full, breadth of work, but in that particular video, it felt to me like he was encouraging women to deal with and work with, okay, this, not necessarily bottom tier men, but deal with men that are walking in boyfriend energy. It was almost like he was saying, look, most of these men are going to be boyfriends anyway, so girl, you got to protect yourself. And I felt like that's what he was saying. And even when I looked at the comments, especially the women that were 100% against me in the comments, again, it leaned into that. It leaned into, well, these men just gonna hurt you. And I can't do what you're saying, Jay, because, it would just hurt me. All these men out here are bad. Again, boyfriend energy men don't care about you. I'm trying to get that through your head. I'm trying to get it through you without yelling at you, right? Boyfriend energy men don't care about you. Girlfriend energy women do not care about men. When you line yourself up with a girlfriend energy person or a boyfriend energy person, you will be hurt. And if you get hurt, that is on you. It is not on me. It is not on anybody else. It's definitely not on God. It's on you. God sent me here to teach you how to find people that walk in spouse energy. But if you deny it constantly, if you are just made up in your mind that you're going to go down this path of pain and suffering, then go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Because it ain't got nothing to do with me. I am just a messenger. I pull up scripture all the time to show you what I'm talking about. And the easiest way I can describe this is what Jesus says. Do not cast your pearls before swine. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to call people pigs out here, but I'm just being real. And the reason why pigs cannot handle pearls is because it's not what they want. You have to ask yourself, why do you want the boyfriend energy man? Why do you want a man that doesn't care about you? I just did a video recently, probably for you all, came out yesterday. And there was a woman, and she was literally saying how men were giving her things. Like she went on a date, and a man gave her flowers, and she said it made her feel weird. She said she thought the man was corny. And that's the point. That's the husband. The husband comes with flowers. The husband comes taking ownership. The husband comes and it gives you peace. But if you can't handle the peace, if the peace feels weird and it feels awkward, that says to me that you are walking in girlfriend energy and you're attracted to men that walk in boyfriend energy. So don't get mad at men that walk in husband energy because you have not waken up to the fact that you like boyfriend energy men. And boyfriend energy, because they don't take ownership of you, they don't care about you. And so therefore, they're going to do whatever they want. So if it's about coming in and banging your back out, right, which you can't say that you don't want. Let's be real about it. Okay, and they come eat up all your food and drive your car all around the city. And then while you're working, you find out that he cheated on you. Okay, sometimes with your roommate or maybe your sister or somebody else close to you, and then you're going to get mad about it. And then you're going to be all up in your feelings. But you chose him. You chose the boyfriend who took no ownership of you, who was not trying to do anything for you. You wanted him. You dug that grave. Get in it. Don't be mad at the world. Get in it. And see, this is where accountability comes in. And a lot of people, again, in the dating space, are talking about accountability. Nobody told you to get with him. See, the reason why I bring up Sierra a lot, Sierra and Russell Wilson, was because Sierra took accountability. She recognized, what am I doing? Why am I dating bad men? She took accountability. And then she went over and she got with Russell Wilson. And the whole world called her corny. The whole world said that was stupid. All her peers, remember I tell you, single people keep you single. All her peers told her that you're dumb. What are you doing? Girl, Russell Wilson? Yeah, he a millionaire, but girl, he ain't got nothing really going on. But now Sierra's at peace. She doesn't have the trouble that all of you are complaining about because she chose well. And that is the essence of life. If you are attracted to boyfriend energy, and you continue to be attracted to boyfriend energy, then that is exactly what you're going to get. And you have no one to blame but yourself. And you're not going to blame God, and you're not going to blame me, and you're not going to blame anybody else. But if you want a husband takes ownership. And that ownership is going to come with certain parameters. He's not going to let you get away with anything. You're not going to come in cussing him out. You're not going to come in, doing whatever you want. It's going to be a totally different vibe. And in the beginning, you might call him corny. But trust me, after a certain amount of time, you're going to see a lot more strength in him than what you think. Number 3 is simple. You close your ears to wisdom. Right now, you could be watching a slew of channels all over YouTube. And I guarantee you that if I looked over your shoulder, into your phone, or into your laptop or whatever, and I looked at your social media would tell me whether or not you're going to get married. It would. Are you looking for pipe dreams, or are you looking for solutions? Do you run away from the people that say things that might hurt a little bit? Or are you running to information that yeah, it hurts, but it's going to bless me because it challenges me to do something different? One of the things, and I've already said it in this video, is I talk about the 18 years being under 2 parents that are trying to work it out. That is the best case scenario. It is not me trying to make you feel bad if you didn't have it, but you need to acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, how can you fix it? It is the equivalent of you driving down the interstate in your car with a flat tire. And the car itself, because the newer cars, they will tell you, hey, you got a flat tire. And you're still driving down the street. And the car is wiggling and it's doing all of this, but you're still driving down the interstate. And you think that I'm going to make it. You think that I don't have to worry about this. But eventually, what is going to happen? You're going to get in a car accident. That wheel literally is going to fly off. You cannot put 70 miles an hour, on a rim of a car where the tire is literally flat. After a certain amount of time, that rim is going to fly off. You're going to lose that. The other axle is now going to be off balance, and you're going to be in a car accident. But that is the equivalent of people who go through life and they don't desire wisdom. Again, Proverbs talks about it over and over and over again. How wisdom is what blesses you in life. But there are so many women that they don't want wisdom. What they want is a fantasy. Okay? Right now, there's a big thing with kingdom marriage, and I've been studying it deeply because I don't really want to talk too deep into it until I study it. Okay? Because that's kind of how I am. I don't want to, speak out of turn because that's not necessary. I mean, God is here for me to talk about marriage in general, but there are certain things that I know has been an anointing on certain people. But the one thing I can say for sure about a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing about kingdom marriage is that most of you all will never have a kingdom marriage. And if every single thing that you're studying is about kingdom marriage, and you're just 100% like, well, if God doesn't shine a light on the man that's in front of me and tell me in my spirit, and he knows in his spirit that we're going to get married and have this kingdom marriage, then I'm just letting you know, boo, it's just probably not going to happen. Okay, and then you're just going to waste a lot of your years and be in a lot of pain and recognize that God never said any of that and that you're being manipulated. See, people are manipulating women all the time. They manipulate men as well. All right, but they manipulate women through fantasy and through hope. And what I'm encouraging women to do is to do the hard work. And like I say, women come to me all the time and they always say, what you say is hard. What you say is hard. Of course it's hard. Because your parents were supposed to do this. They had 18 years to do this and they did not do it. And so now you want me to all of a sudden give you 18 years worth of knowledge in a few hours? It doesn't work that way. Now you have to work the rest of your life to fix this problem that your parents were supposed to fix. But they might have not known to fix it. And if you don't fix it in your generation, guess what? Your kids are going to have to say, they're going to have the exact same problem. And then they're going to have to take their whole lives to fix it. Somebody has to fix it, which basically means you have to stand in the gap. If you're in your 20s and your early 30s, you have to stand in the gap. Because if you're not willing to stand in the gap, it's going to propagate to the next generation. So understanding wisdom is so important. Okay? It is extremely important. And one of the key elements is after God, okay, and this is going to hit the women a little bit more so than the men, but after God, it's your person. That's it, ladies. It is your person. And the reason why I say this hits women a little bit more is because I know women, have children. Some of you might be single moms watching me right now, and you have children, and you say to yourself, there's no way in the world I can let a man come into my life, and he come into my life, and he's the main person I'm concerned about. I'm going to be concerned about my children first. That's what you would say. But then you're out of order. It cannot be that way. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to pop in on day one. Now, I'm not a fool, and I don't think most, rational people would think that way. But if you cannot slide your energy from your children over to your husband, okay, within a reasonable amount of time, maybe 1 or 2 years, like I said, I don't know what's reasonable because everybody's situation is slightly different, then you don't need to get married. You need to wait until your children are grown and then get married. Okay, now I'm gonna be real with you. It gets more difficult as you get older. It doesn't get easier. Okay, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them is just mortality rate. But again, let's be real. So if you're sitting around, especially with young children, okay, you have to recognize that the man comes in and he's the man. Now, again, you have to pick well, because you can pick very bad men and those men end up hurting your children. But that is why I talk so much about understanding husband energy and wife energy. And the very first thing is always ownership. The husband should come in and he should be that giving leader, very much like Jesus. You should feel very comfortable. A woman, if she is with a husband-minded man, her life becomes easier. It becomes better. It doesn't become worse. You love yourself more. You don't love yourself less. Okay? A man comes in building you up, not pushing you down. But again, if you are so in love with the flesh, then again, that's going to be on you, and the wisdom is going to be wasted. And here's the final thing. You have single friends. And let's be real. There's nothing wrong with having friends that are single. I have a few friends that are single. But the issue here is, how much are you leaning into their advice? Okay? Because single people have single mindset. They think like single people should. And why shouldn't they? They're single. So for instance, I dated a woman one time, and she literally told me, she was like, I believe, she was like, we had talked about marriage, because I don't hang out with women if we're not talking about marriage. And so about the second or third date or whatever, we started to talk about, just marriage in general and what marriage would look like and blah, blah, blah. And so what she ended up coming out was that she felt as though at least once a month, if not every other week, she would go out with her girlfriends. And she wanted to know how I felt about that. And I literally looked at her. I was like, why are you going out with your girlfriends like every other week or so? And she was like, well, we do brunch, or we'll do girls' night, and then we'll do girls' trips, or whatever it was. And I was like, I told her, I was like, no. I was like, that doesn't work with me. And, she was, curious about that. And I told her straight up, I was like, I should be the person you want to spend the most time with. If you don't want to spend most time with me, why are you with me? She was so used to more of a provider man concept. Like, she had her own money. I mean, this girl actually had money. She had made like $250,000 or so a year. She was actually a doctor. And so she had her own money, but her mindset was very much almost like a placeholder, man. Like, I'm just a checklist. And this conversation was one of the main ones that let me know that I was just, part of the checklist. Because what was happening was she had no real belief or understanding that we could ever be deep friends, that she could truly enjoy time with me. Instead, I was a good man. I was the type of man that would be a great father. I was the type of man that was handsome, and I would look good on her arm when she went to some of the functions, that she would hang out in. But she didn't necessarily care that much about my life, what I was into. She's not going to watch Marvel films with me or anything like that. Instead, it's more like, oh, you go with your boys, have fun. I'm going to go with my girls, and we're going to have fun. Right? But that is a single woman's mindset. That's not a married woman's mindset. A married woman wants to spend time with her husband. Her husband is fun. Her husband is enjoyable. Her husband might not necessarily be her best friend, but her husband is a very good friend. And so the person she wants to hang out with, the person that she loves the most, the person she does the most for is her husband. And see, single people, what they want to do is they want to really continue in their singleness, but then have the benefits of marriage. And they will encourage people to believe that lie. But no, marriage is what it is. It is two people coming together and basically fighting against the world and doing their very best to make the relationship work. It is not two people that just come, have sex, have babies, and just live, together under a roof. It doesn't work that way. And see, single mindset leans into all these girls trips, leans into it's okay to cheat because he probably doing it anyway, leans into all of this drama that people have out here because single people still want to have fun. Single people still want to do what they want to do. And that's why I'm always telling people, look, if you want to be single, be single. Be okay with being single, or be okay with just being with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I don't care. But keep marriage away from you unless you're willing to do 99% of the tenets that line up with marriage. Be man enough or woman enough to say, you know what, I ain't doing it. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be with one person. I don't want to hang out with them. I've never met a person, of the opposite sex that I really am a good friend with. So you know what? I just don't want to do it. Be that person. Because if you line up for marriage, it's not going to work unless you are a marriage person. A marriage person says, you know what? I want to spend time with my husband or wife more than I want to spend time with anybody else. I want to work together with them more than I want to do anything else. I want to basically be intimate with them more than I want to be intimate with anyone else. A marriage-minded person doesn't see, every person that is attractive and think, ooh, I would love to have sex with them. That is a single-minded person. A marriage-minded person, it's not even about not looking, because I'm going to be real. When I was married, I would still look at women because they're pretty. I like to look at women. I'm always going to like to look at women. I love a pretty woman now. Okay, but being intimate with her is totally different. I can look at her all day, but that doesn't mean I want to really do anything with her, especially if I'm married to someone, right? And see, that is the point that I'm trying to say. Marriage-minded people think differently. Single-minded people think differently. And see, the reason why I believe there's so much pain in the world when it comes to dating and marriage and stuff like that is because single people are trying to get married instead of just staying single. And then marriage-minded people a lot of times line themselves up with single-minded people. And that's why I'm always talking about selfishness and selflessness. A marriage-minded person should be selfless. Your desire is to give your life away. It is not to keep your life, and it's also not to make the other person serve you. If your goal is to do that, then you're not marriage-minded. You might be a good person. You might be a nice person, but you're single-minded. Because if it's all about you, then that's a single person mindset. A marriage person mindset is when they're getting groceries, they're thinking, oh, what does my spouse want? If they're in the house and they wake up in the morning, oh, how can I make this day great for my spouse? If they're walking around and they see clothes on the floor, they're not thinking, oh, I'm just going to leave them there. They're thinking, oh, okay, how can I, again, make this situation good for my spouse? One thing is my spouse is constantly leaving it down there, or it could be me leaving my own clothes. So how does my spouse feel about it? And honestly, it's really just about being a good person. I mean, and again, that's really what your parents were supposed to train you. I'm always, surprised again, you'll have, situations where people won't make up their bed. They won't pick up their clothes. They won't take care of themselves at all. I'm like, dude, well, what did your mama teach you? Your mama was supposed to teach you basically all these things so that you can get along with everybody else in the world. Why do you think your mom was telling you to make up your bed? It wasn't literally for you, it was for who you gonna marry. She's trying to teach you how to be a better person so that when you're with another person, they can put up with you. But if everything is about other people serving you, going behind you, making up your bed, making you food, cleaning up the house after you, then what the heck, why are you there? And again, this is another reason why so many women have problems, is because they're leaning into men that are not doing what they need to do. So black women, just being real, if you're a black woman, this is 4 reasons. You need to pick well. You need to think about what the man is doing. You need to be around married women or women that are marriage minded. Okay, because they don't necessarily have to be married, but they need to be marriage minded. And if you're not around marriage minded people, you need to get around some, because it's not going to help you, to not. Now, many of you might be wondering, why at the very beginning, you saw the woman, with the breadsticks that became pizza. And the reason why I showed you all that clip is simple. How you look at your life right now might be that you're looking at breadsticks, that you're arguing, that you're mad, that you're angry, because you're like, man, I was supposed to get something and they brought me breadsticks. I know what breadsticks look like. I know what bread looks like. But it's your perspective. I'm always saying that there are great people right next to you. And her pizza was right there in front of her. But it's her perspective. She has to flip her perspective. And as soon as it happened, a big smile came on her face. Why? Because she understood at that moment. It was that epiphany. And that's what I'm trying to get all of you to understand. There are marriage-minded people right next to you. But most of the time, marriage-minded people get looked past, because everybody wants to have fun. And that is what the devil is pushing and promoting out here, right? Anyway, I also wanted to let everyone know, like I said, that I am moving into membership. So, I'll still be putting videos out here on YouTube, but I will have some private videos that are going to be directly for members only. And I'll also be trying to do some lives, every other, week, like every other Wednesday. I'm going to try to do my first one on August 21st. So if you want to sign up for membership, I would greatly appreciate it. And that will, like I said, allow us to go a little bit deeper and to really talk about, your own personal things. And through the lives, you can ask me direct questions and different things like that. And I'm going to try to do it with a Zoom call in the very beginning, because I believe that the Zoom call can kind of open it up where people can kind of give their opinions a little bit, because like I said, everybody's in different places around the world. And so we want to really think and consider about all those things in order, to try to give people really great advice and to try to help them, right? But until that point, there's lots of really great things in that description. So go check that out. And please like, please subscribe. And I'm going to see you all in the very next video.